How long do I have left before you turn me into a worker bee?
So far, the pluribus virus has reshaped the world, turning a once chaotic, emotional, and unpredictable human species into compliant, programmed worker bees. People, they're no longer driven by love, hate, greed, or joy. They're only ruled by logic, rules, and directives. But every hive, it has a queen, someone or something guiding its goals and instincts. This episode, it delves into Carol's emotional struggle as she navigates this new reality. The world has already changed around her, and eventually she will have to change too. Will she become another drone, or will she evolve into something entirely different? Let's break it down. This episode opens up with a flashback from a trip Carol and Helen took to an ice hotel in Norway. And the connection to ice and how the cold relates to humans, well, it seems like a big clue about the story and where it's headed. We saw other small clues about ice and cold. In episode 1, the janitor's floor waxer thing has the word ice on it. And we see graffiti of ice cubes on one of the trucks bringing Carol's groceries. I mean, this could all just be one big Easter egg about Breaking Bad, the blue ice being the meth that Walt made, but I think there's a lot more to it.
Cold stimulates ancient nerves, makes you feel a primal connection to the world.
The host at the hotel in Norway, he explains how ancient humans evolved and grew alongside glaciers during the ice ages. Now, the first ever species classified as human, or part of the Homo genus, they evolved about 2 million years ago, at the start of the Pleistocene, or the Ice Age. And when more advanced human species like Homo erectus and Neanderthals came to be, they were in the thick of the Ice Age. Many scientists, they believe the human race evolved not in spite of, but because of the colder environment. Only the more clever would survive, those who were able to figure out how to keep warm by building fires, clothing, building shelters, those who learned to work together as tribes for better chances of survival. Now, Neanderthals specifically, they had to deal with the worst of the ice ages, the ones who evolved alongside glaciers and are modern-day humans' closest ancestor. It's estimated that most modern humans carry about 1 to 2% of Neanderthal DNA. And so when the hotel dude mentions how the ice activates ancient and primal connections to the world, well, perhaps there's something more to that with a variant of an ancient Neanderthal gene, something that is a very rare ancient humanoid species that Carol carries. Something that protects her from the pluribus virus. Some studies, they indicate that the Neanderthal genes affect things like immune response, which could be why Carol is immune to the virus. And I think another big clue about this is the room Carol and Helen stay in, the koi room. Now, fun fact, koi fish are one of the most genetically flexible fish. Koi have extra chromosomes and gene copies, which basically makes them super adaptable. They can survive freezing temps, live a long-ass time, and even change their genes on the fly to deal with new situations, like slowing their metabolism to save energy when it's really fucking cold. Maybe Carol and the other immune people are like the koi fish. There's something about their DNA that allows them to adapt to this new post-virus world, where they are unaffected. But there's more of a metaphorical meaning to this whole ice thing.
We just flew 16 hours to get frozen like Walt Disney.
Not only is there the rumor about Walt Disney being frozen, but there's a movie called Frozen by Disney as well. It's based on a Scandinavian folklore about the Snow Queen. She's the ruler of snow bees, snowflakes that look like bees, and as we know, hives, they have a queen. The queen lives in a palace of ice and she captures a human boy, and like Walt Disney, he's sort of in a frozen state, enchanted by magic that takes away all his emotions and humanity, and really just making him forget the love he once had for a girl named Gerda. He's only focused on the task that's given to him by the Snow Queen. He's finally cured and free from the Snow Queen when Gerda rescues him with a kiss. Now, this whole ice and the queen thing represents cold, logic, emotional detachment, a lot like what the virus does. And I know it's supposed to be the happy virus, but in reality, the people, they lose ability to be happy in the way we know it. They are stripped from emotions and they only focus on whatever task is at hand, just like in the story. It's interesting how this fairy tale talks of snow bees and hives and how the pluribus virus transforms humans into a hive, transforming their social structure into something more like how bees operate. So I just can't help but think that there's a queen bee somewhere out there in the universe, a snow queen that wants to rule the earth for her own bidding, in answer to what and why this virus was created and sent to Earth. But, maybe it's Carol that eventually becomes the queen of the Hive. She's already got an icy heart and demeanor to her that's closed off, isolated, bitter at the world. And like the Snow Queen, she does have power or magical ability. I mean, sort of, but if you think of how she's immune to the virus and can control the rest of the Hive to do whatever task or bidding that she wants, very same. Now, in the Disney movie adaptation of the fairy tale, the Snow Queen, she isn't really evil or a villain. It's Elsa, and she's just struggling to find self-acceptance. She's a little chaotic and can inadvertently harm people with her powers, which is a lot like Carol and her anger and emotional responses that we see. In the end of that movie, it's about embracing who you are, good and bad. Stop trying to control everything and just accept things for what they are. In episode 1, we learn the name of a serious novel Carol's working on.
Maybe it's time for your serious book. You really think bitter chrysalis is that good?
A chrysalis is the pupal stage of a butterfly, where the caterpillar goes into its own little created shell and transforms, finally emerging as a butterfly. It ties back to the whole koi fish thing that we talked about earlier. There's a Chinese legend about koi fish swimming up the Yellow River that must leap atop a giant waterfall. Those who are able to make the leap are transformed into a powerful dragon. Carol, she's the koi, she's the caterpillar and chrysalis. It's a hard transformation for her to make from her bitter, lowly state of being to rise above to something greater, beautiful, and powerful. If she accepts who she is, can embrace this stage of her life, she'll eventually emerge as a butterfly. Carol, she's hiding away right now in her little chrysalis. And like the Walt Disney reference, she wants the world to be cryogenically frozen in time, unchanged to how things used to be.
As we say, you will feel some plommen I egget, like a yolk in an egg.
The hotel dude, he shares this Norwegian saying, meaning being in a perfect place, safe, secure, nurtured, perfectly content. This ice environment represents what brings Carol closer to her own primal instincts. To be isolated, bitter, cold, this is what makes her feel safe. She wants to shut out the world, be independent, and we see her starting to make her transformation within her little shell. For example, when Carol finds out the Hive has consolidated resources and emptied out all the grocery stores and pharmacies, for efficiency as they put it, well, if she wanted it to be left alone, it's just not possible. She needs food and resources to survive. So she gets pissed that she has to contact the Hive for help. She demands they put her grocery store back to the way it was so she can remain happy and comfortable in her little egg, frozen in time the way it was pre-virus. She felt like before she was able to be independent, isolated in her home and fending for herself. And while there is a perceived difference to her, she could just go to the store, get what she wanted. She kind of overlooks that even then, in the old world, she wasn't independent, she wasn't alone. She had to rely on the farmers, the corporations, the workers at the store, etc., etc. I mean, like, whenever something went wrong in the pre-virus world, it's not like she didn't also just pick up the phone and call someone like she does now. A plumber if the sink's not draining, the cell phone company for phones broken, the power company when the lights go out. At its core, the world isn't really that different. Just because she didn't have someone bringing things directly to her house and there was an additional layer of action needed on her part, well, it doesn't mean what she was doing was independent or that she was alone or isolated. She still needed people. Dare I say a hive? I mean, it goes back to the ancient human species, the ones who evolved from Neanderthals to us. They had to rely on each other to survive. And then there's the whole shared memories of Helen. It seems like maybe her secretive relationship with Helen, hiding because of her book series and the fan base, well, it wasn't really all that bad to her. She kind of liked that her and Helen were in their own little world. She felt comfortable and safe being just the two of them. Despite all the cons to not being able to fully live authentically and open to the world, that doesn't matter. Helen was her world. She had something special and private with Helen that she cherished. To go from one extreme to the other, from something very private and exclusive to whatever this is with the Hive. It's so jarring and hard to cope with. Her instincts in nature are to be guarded, to ice people out. And so the Hive, as they try to make Carol happy and more comfortable, they miss the mark. They take efforts to help achieve some semblance of pre-virus world, like selecting real pilots to help fly the plane instead of the TGI Fridays gal, or leaving her electricity running at night, or restocking the grocery store, even delivering her junk mail. But they don't seem to understand that no matter how tailored their actions are, it's not personal at all. It's quite the opposite.
We think you're really gonna like what's in the box.
What's in the box? What's in the fucking box?
The Hive tries to make Carol happy by delivering this package, a thoughtful gift from Helen that was ordered prior to the world ending. But you see, the Hive, they only know Carol through the lens of Helen. They see through Helen's eyes that Carol found enjoyment in little things and experiences in the past, but what they don't seem to understand is that ultimately it wasn't the special breakfast or the massage gun or whatever vacation they went on that made her happy and comfortable. It was her intimate connection with Helen. It was sharing it with Helen.
Oh, come on. This is completely your bag. You love feeling bad.
Helen understood Carol's instinct and nature, and she embraced it. She loved Carol for who she was, her grumpy-ass attitude and all. Helen was the one person who could crack through Carol's shell simply by accepting her and giving her the space to be herself. This Hive, on the other hand, they're too pushy. They're trying to control Carol's emotional state through all these acts of service. Again, quite the opposite of her relationship with Helen. It wasn't forced like this. And so the Hive, they inadvertently push Carol further into isolation, into her safe space, even literally isolating her home onto its own electrical circuit. She's on her own little private island. And when Carol, she makes a sarcastic joke about needing a hand grenade, they deliver, not really knowing if she's serious or not. Carol's default mode is dark, sarcastic, borderline pessimistic humor. It's cynical, it's dry, and Helen, she knew it. She could read it, she could embrace it. She could banter with Carol and roll with it in a way the Hive never could. I think this really shows how the virus changes people. Their idea of happy isn't human anymore. They can't even process dark humor as something positive or fun. They're too literal, too logical, too programmed, almost robotic. They can't pick up on the nuances that make real human connection possible, the little sarcastic jabs and jokes that are built into how we can relate to each other. I mean, look, there's no more recreational activities, no relaxing and watching TV at night, no going out to the club, nada. They've optimized their energy use. They only spend it on whatever job needs to be done. Fun, friendships, relationships, all of that becomes wasteful. If the Hive doesn't need it to survive, it gets cut. In a way, it's like the virus pushes humanity into a perfect, efficient, perfectly green, zero-waste society. No crime, no aimless nights, no doing things just because they're enjoyable. It's all function, no feeling. And it really underlines that once someone becomes part of the Hive, they lose all personal desire. Their only version of happiness is optimizing, preserving resources, and sustaining the planet. Not out of love, but because that's the programming now.
Sorry, Carol. We have a biological imperative.
From what we've seen in this series so far, the biological imperative seems to be to foster life and protect nature.
We don't kill.
Not even a lobster? All zoos are empty. All dogs are off their chains. Peace on earth.
They can't harm living beings, they try to maximize resources, they maintain a peaceful environment, and so it's a bit of a pickle on how this imperative relates to making the 12 immune people like Carol happy. If the Hive's imperative is truly to protect the Earth, and if killing almost 1 billion people was considered a necessary step to accomplish that, then why not eliminate the 12 immune humans too? They can harm things, they can disrupt efficiency, they can introduce chaos. Logically, wiping them out would serve the Hive's goals, right? It seems a justifiable means to an end. And isn't it weird they bend over backwards to help the immune people become happy? Even when happy means something dangerous. I mean, Carol jokes about needing a hand grenade and boom, they deliver. If she wanted something worse, it seems like they'd provide it. Even nuclear access isn't off the table. I guess this comes back to the Hive's fundamental misunderstanding of human happiness, like how they keep messing things up with Carol. Happiness is emotional, unpredictable, and often illogical, which puts it in a direct conflict with their biological imperative. There seems to be a hierarchy of rules here. It reminds me of Isaac Asimov's laws of robotics. 1. A robot may not injure a human being or, through inaction, allow a human being to come to harm. 2. A robot must obey orders given to it by its human beings, except where such orders would conflict with the first law. And 3. A robot must protect its own existence, as long as such protection does not conflict with the first or second law. In iRobot, Asimov shows how these laws can collide, where a robot is trapped because obeying one law means violating another. Sometimes telling a human something will harm them, but not telling them will also harm them too. The programming, it's not nuanced enough to interpret the emotional or ethical gray areas, so it spirals, glitches, or acts unpredictably. That's exactly what's happening with this hive. Let's say their laws are something like 1. Ensure human happiness, 2. Never harm living creatures, and 3. Protect Earth's energy and resources. Well, then giving Carol grenades, or even nuclear bombs, well, it violates rules number 2 and 3 in massive ways. But because the hive interpret her words as direct orders tied to their highest law, they can't properly weigh the long-term harm between rules 1, 2, and 3. Just like Asimov's robots, they're trapped in a contradiction that their programming can't really resolve. It looks like in the next episode, we'll see Carol testing these boundaries and rules that the hive has. She's being forced to adapt whether she wants to or not. And so, will she emerge from her chrysalis as the queen of the hive? Stronger, more confident, and able to navigate this world? Or is there a darker twist coming? Maybe the virus's creators finally make their move. Or maybe the hive itself learns to adapt, figures out the nuance of Carol and the other humans, learning to harness their uniquely human qualities to further the hive's imperative. Now, before we wrap, we gotta talk about this new mystery man who's immune and, well, a lot like Carol.
Chinga tu madre, cabrón!
He hasn't communicated much with the hive and he's isolating himself. He's untrusting of the hive just like Carol is. I think their phone exchange was exactly what was needed to build a foundation of trust with each other. Something that, again, the hive could never understand about human relationships. I think this new character will be important, or at the very least hilarious to watch interact with Carol. And then there's this comment that Carol made about freezing her eggs.
I could have saved that $100 grand and frozen my eggs right here, yolks and all.
Now, was this just another reference to her metaphorically wanting everything to be frozen in time the way it was, or her whole past life? Or is there some real-world application that can be used to study her eggs, the DNA in it or whatever, or something that the hive will use to try to adapt the virus? Anywho, that's all I got. Thank you so much everyone for watching. I would love to hear your thoughts about all this in the comments below. This episode, it really opened up a lot of interesting theories and ideas for me. I also heard there's a short snippet of one of Carol's novels that Apple released, so I'll be looking into that and what other connections and clues that can be found in that book. As always, if you enjoyed this video, ensure to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel for more breakdowns. Special thanks to my channel members for throwing a little extra support my way. This means the world to me, and it really helps keep this channel alive and going. Until next time, toodles!